just weeks in, something seems to be going badly wrong with the inquiry into the grooming gang scandal, because two abuse victims who were on the panel have quit as advisors to the government's national grooming gang inquiry, saying that they feel silenced and they feel manipulated by the whole process.
Ellie Reynolds was abused by a group of three men for 5 years from the age of just 13. She's now resigned from the victims panel last night, saying she no longer has faith it will bring survivors any justice. Ellie joins us now. Ellie, we're so sorry to hear that you feel this way, not least sorry that all that you've been through. What was the tipping point for you? Why did you not feel this was right and that you had to take a stand?
I think the tipping point was a variety of things, really. I think the feeling of being gaslit and manipulated when you're in a panel that is meant to be exposing the truth and bringing justice to the country was one of the priorities for me. And then I think that when the information was leaked about the potential chairs, at that point, in my opinion, them chairs aren't suitable. They're not compatible for this panel. They're not... I have no reason to believe or be confident in the fact that they are going to be unbiased. They're going to be, very centre. I believe that, in my opinion, in their previous professions, I don't think that it's possible that we're going to be able to find that formal ground of them being in the survivor's favour.
Give us an example of what you mean by saying that in these actual meetings, face-to-face, you were being gaslit. What do you mean? Can you give us an example?
Yeah, so we were receiving many emails. We were taking these panels via virtual. The emails that we were receiving were saying, like, you can't talk to your family, you can't talk to your friends about it, you can't talk to anybody about it apart from us. They were very discouraging as well of the survivors talking to each other about it, which I personally didn't like, because survivors, they really... unite in this sort of thing, and they seek that support from other people, and we were manipulated into believing that if we were going to seek support from anybody else, we'd be in trouble. And it's not a nice feeling to feel controlled after you've spent so many years surviving a grooming gang where you were controlled, to then be controlled by the government.
Absolutely, and that must be a horrible feeling. Was there any sense that maybe they were doing that because they wanted clarity of the individual testimony? Sometimes in a legal situation you can be encouraged not to discuss. Was there any sense of that, or did it just not feel appropriate to you?
I don't think it felt appropriate from the off. I mean, they're trying to seek a wider range. They're trying to water down the actual problem that we have in this country, and it is grooming gangs. They really tried to take a wider view, which I was in support of, until I, educated myself on realising that the way that they're watering it down is pretty much going to brush grooming gangs under the carpet again. And grooming gangs have been brushed under the carpet now for numerous years, and it's about time that people started making a stand and people started exposing what's going on in our country.
Well, this is what I wanted to ask you. In the Daily Telegraph this morning, which reports your resignation and that of your friend as well, it points out that the whole inquiry that you were, until last night, a part of, followed this report by Baroness Casey, which found that Asian men were disproportionately responsible for this scandal, in which kids like you were groomed for sex by gangs in towns and cities across Britain, but three specific areas in the north: Greater Manchester, West Yorkshire and South Yorkshire. Let's cut to the chase here. Are you saying that this inquiry, from your experience on the inside, doesn't want to accept what Baroness Casey said? They want to deny that her findings are accurate?
Yes. From my opinion, I think that this panel is aiming to prevent the truth from coming out about the fact that we do have grooming gangs in the country that are predominantly Asian, Pakistani men. I feel like in their way of doing this, it's, again, going to brush everything under the carpet. It's going to be forgotten about soon. I feel like the aim of that panel was to eliminate our voices, to silence us, and basically to find out what we knew so that they knew how to cover it up in advance.
And why do you think...
Well, that's sickening.
Can I just follow up on that? Why do you think Why do you think that they want to do that? Is it because, rather like the police were found to be basically embarrassed to inquire too deeply into this scandal in case they were accused of being racist? Is it that? Is it that they fear that there's something racist about this?
I think that they're scared of uncovering the truth because the social services have previously failed many young girls and boys. Police systems have failed many young girls and boys. And when you look at all the authorities and the systems, they've failed many young girls and boys on the basis of the fearful of being seen as racist. And I don't think that that should be something that comes into it. I believe that survivors should be able to name the ethnicity of their abusers without feeling scared. And I believe that it's the authority and services' job to protect us in that and to stand by us. You've got to look at the social worker. I covered a story on that not long ago. A social worker had witnessed a marriage of an underage girl, and it's only just been called out now. You have to start looking at why these are so fearful of this grooming gang being exposed. Why are they so fearful of the truth coming out? And I seriously think it's because the majority of their jobs would be in jeopardy.
It is horrible hearing what you're saying. It's obviously horrible. We have a Home Office statement here. It says, any suggestion this inquiry is being watered down is completely wrong. We're committed to delivering a robust, thorough inquiry that will get to the truth and provide the answers survivors have long campaigned for. We're working urgently to appoint the best chair to take forward this work and deliver justice, putting victims and survivors at the heart of the process. Can I ask you to clarify what you were given to understand the remit of this was and how you feel that's shifted? Because your voice is so strong. I worry that you've taken this stand for good reasons, in your view, but that now your voice is not going to be there.
Initially, we were told that we would be joining. Well, at first it wasn't even meant to be a panel. I mean, it was meant to be individual consultations, and they told us that we would be helping to shape the terms of reference. So we genuinely believed that we went in there to make a difference, to receive justice for the country, for each individual. We believed that we were going to be. It was going to be survivor-led. And it quickly collapsed. It's not survivor-led. And as for the Home Office's comment, well scripted, but I think they underestimated the survivors again. They caused a division in that panel where survivors weren't even allowed to seek support from each other. Now, that was trying to cause a division so that the survivors were then silenced again. They were on their own, and it didn't work. And I think the quicker that they realise that stuff like that isn't going to work anymore, the quicker that they're going to realise they have to expose the truth.
Well, I think I can possibly guess what your answer might be, but there have been a couple of names in the frame for a possible chair. One of those has been formerly working in the police service, the other formerly in the social service, two systems you feel have deeply, deeply failed you personally and many other survivors. So who would you like to see, or what sort of person would you like to see be the chair of this?
I think I would like to see somebody that's got a little bit of humanity about them, somebody that's not afraid to stand up for what's right, somebody that's got no affiliations or links with services or authorities like the police, social services, etc. I think it would be a lot better if a judge that was, you know, completely impartial could stand the chair. But there again, I feel like it's been a set-up from the start, so I've got doubts that that's ever going to happen.
What you're basically saying is you don't want it led by vested interests. Or what could be perceived to be vested interests. You make an extremely powerful argument, Ellie. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning. I'm sorry it didn't work out for you, because I know you went into this with real passion. You really wanted to make a difference. And
we're really sorry that you're still having to fight on now, and thank goodness you and others like you are.
Well, look, if any of you watching have been in any way affected by any of the issues, particularly the grooming gang issue that we've been talking about here, you can find advice and support. It's there for you at itv.com/helpline.